Before I started my first home service business, I spent the better part of 6 months trying almost every other business model that gets talked about online. Social media marketing agency, copywriting, growth operating, e-commerce, dropshipping, gym influencer, clothing brand, supplement company. I was not dabbling. I was genuinely trying to make each of them work, and every single one of them failed. And I want to be clear about something. I'm not making this video to trash those models or to tell you they don't work for anyone. Some of them do work, but I spent 6 months inside most of them before I ever touched home services. And I have now built 4 home service businesses personally and helped start over 100 more. So I have a specific vantage point on the comparison that most people making these videos do not have. This is not a theoretical breakdown. This is what I actually saw in both directions, and why, if I had to start over from zero today, knowing everything I know, I would walk straight back into home services without a second thought. Let's get into it. When someone comes to me who is thinking about starting a business in 2026, they're usually weighing a handful of the same options: SMMA, dropshipping or e-commerce, content creation or personal brand, and sometimes real estate. Those are the 4 I hear most often. So let me go through each one honestly. SMMA, social media marketing agency. The pitch is that you learn a skill, you sell it to businesses, you keep the margin. And that works. People build real agencies. But what nobody tells you going in is that you are entering one of the most competitive talent markets on the internet. You're competing against people who have been doing this for 5 years, who have a portfolio, who have case studies, and who are willing to charge less than you to get the client. Getting your first client in SMMA without an existing network or track record is genuinely one of the hardest cold starts in online business right now. And then keeping that client while also delivering results, while also doing your own outreach, while also learning the craft, that is a lot of hats to wear at once. When I started my social media marketing agency, I actually closed my first client after like 500 outreaches, and then they signed the service agreement. We started doing work, and then they charged back the charge on their credit card, and I was out the 2 weeks of time, plus the 500 outreaches, plus all the money and effort that we had put into producing and shooting their content. Now, was that unlucky? Absolutely. But did it show me that the model itself was just kind of flawed? Yes. Dropshipping and e-commerce. The pitch is find a product, run ads, make the spread. And people do make money here, but the margins are thin. The ad costs keep going up, and the product you find today that is working will have 12 competitors running the same angle within 3 months. You are always chasing the next thing. And returns, chargebacks, supplier issues, inventory problems, these are real operational headaches that nobody talks about until you are in them. Next, content creation and a personal brand. Genuinely one of the best long-term plays out there if you can get traction, but getting traction is the entire problem. Most people spend a year making content, grow to a few hundred followers, maybe 1,000, and then make nothing. The ones who break through usually either had an existing audience, an existing skill set that was highly differentiated, or they got lucky with a piece of content that blew up. And even when it works, the income is heavily tied to you continuing to create. You stop posting, the income slows. That is not a business. That's a job with an unpredictable paycheck. And I've made content across 5 different niches now, and I know that I would not feel comfortable with content creation paying my bills. There have been many great months where I've made a lot of money from content, but there have also been many very long dry stretches where little to no income has been made, whether I have been posting super hard or not posting at all. Content creation is much more of a skill than it is a business. And now we have real estate, the model that sounds the most legitimate and is the hardest to actually enter right now. You need capital, you need financing, you need to be able to stomach a market that in a lot of areas makes it very hard to find a deal that actually cash flows from day one. It is a great long-term play, but for most people watching this, it's probably not the right move. So let me lay out the actual comparison across the things that matter to most people who are trying to start a business. Starting capital. Home services is one of the lowest barriers to entry of any real business. You can start with as little as $5,000. Compare that to e-commerce, where you need inventory and ad spend, real estate, where you need a down payment, or even SMMA, where you might be spending on software, ads for your own outreach, and potentially a white label fulfillment partner. The floor to getting started in home services is genuinely low. Time to first dollar. In home services, your first client can come within the first 30 days, even 14 days if the lead gen is set up correctly. We guarantee your first client within 90 days, or we keep working with you until it happens. In dropshipping, you could spend months testing products and ad angles before you find something that converts. In content creation, you might go a year without making a single dollar. In SMMA, getting your first paying client from scratch, depending on your network, can take months of cold outreach. Home services compresses that timeline in a way that almost nothing else does. The operating overhead of a home service business is almost nothing. A few $100s a month in software and tools, maybe $2,500 once you have a manager in place. Everything else, the labor and ad spend, scale with your revenue because you are not using employees. You're using subcontractors. Compare that to e-commerce, where you have inventory carrying costs, fulfillment costs, platform fees, and return handling. Or to real estate, where you have the carrying costs on the property itself, regardless of whether it is producing. Home services has some of the cleanest cost structures in small business. Recession resistance. The spending that funds most online businesses, ads on social media, discretionary consumer purchases, digital products, it's all 100% discretionary. When the economy tightens, that is the first stuff people cut. Home services, especially cleaning, HVAC, plumbing, the maintenance and upkeep of a home, is non-discretionary for a large portion of the population. People do not stop cleaning their houses because the economy is bad. They might trade down in other areas, but they do not let their homes fall apart. That is what makes this genuinely recession-proof in a way that most online businesses are not. AI resistance. Every content creator, copywriter, SMMA operator, and digital product seller is competing with AI right now in some form. Not theoretically, actually. The tools that used to require a skilled human operator are increasingly being automated. I'm not saying those businesses are dead, but I am saying the moat is getting thinner every year. Home services require a licensed, trained human being to show up at a physical location and perform a physical service. There is no AI that is cleaning your house or hanging your Christmas lights or installing your water filtration system in 2026. And there will not be for a very long time. The physical nature of the service is the moat, and it is one that does not erode. As a matter of fact, in home services, you can actually use AI to get ahead of your competition and scale your business quicker. So not only does the business model become AI proof, but in the same way that you can leverage AI with SMMA and these other online business models, you can leverage it inside of your home service business as well. You see, AI can be used to make the operations of a business extremely streamlined, and they can help you reduce overhead or cut the operational weight of your business. But the problem exists when your means of production or your way of making money could also just be removed by AI altogether. Home services lies at the perfect intersection of being able to leverage AI without being able to just be eradicated by it. Number 6 is sellability. This is the one almost nobody talks about. At the end of the day, one of the best things you can do with a business is build it and then sell it. A personal brand is nearly impossible to sell because, well, it's tied to you. An SMMA is hard to sell because the clients are often relationship dependent on the founder. A dropshipping store can be sold, but the multiples are low because the business is fragile. A home service business with recurring clients, strong reviews, good systems, and a manager running the day-to-day, that is a sellable asset. Eric sold one of ours for $100,000 in under 10 months. I sold my first one for $300K. These are real exits on real businesses, and the buyer market for cash flowing service businesses is very real. I want to be straight with you because I think pretending there are no trade-offs is how you lose people's trust. Home services is not sexy. If you want to build a personal brand around it and become the face of an industry the way some people do with e-commerce or crypto or content, you can do that. But the business itself is not something you post on Instagram to impress people. Nobody is going to think you're cool for owning a cleaning company. And if that matters to you, this might not be the right fit. It also requires real operational discipline. You're managing subcontractors, handling client communication, overseeing the numbers. With us in the partner program, the load is significantly lighter because we have a trained operator in the business to help you from day one, and we own a piece alongside of you. But I'm not going to tell you that it is passive from the first week. And it's not a viral business. You're not going to wake up and have 10,000 clients because a video blew up. Growth is steady, compounding, and driven by referrals, reviews, and a consistent lead generation system. If you are someone who needs the adrenaline of a viral moment to stay motivated, this is going to feel slow. It is not slow. It just does not look like what you are used to seeing celebrated online. You see, the people who are a great fit for this model are usually in one of two different buckets. The first is someone who has a full-time job or an existing business, earns well, and wants to build a first real asset alongside of a partner who has already done this over 100 times. They have 10 hours a week, they have some capital to start, and they want something that compounds and can eventually be sold, not something that requires them to post content every day or cold email strangers. The second is someone who is trying to get out of their current situation, whether that is a job they want to leave, an income that is not where it needs to be, or a life that they want more control over. And they want the fastest, most reliable path to real recurring income that does not require years of skill building before it starts working. If you're in either of those buckets, this is probably worth a conversation. If you want to build a personal brand, create content, or chase a viral business, this is probably not the right vehicle for you. And I would rather tell you that up front than have you come into the partner program expecting something that it is not. So that is the honest comparison. Not which model sounds best in a YouTube title, but which one actually holds up when you put them side by side across the metrics that matter. Starting capital, time to first dollar, overhead, recession resistance, AI resistance, and sellability. Home services does not win on every dimension, but it wins on the ones that I think actually matter if you're trying to build something real that lasts and that you own. If you want to go deeper on how we actually build these alongside partners, the link is in the description of this video. We start at $5,000. We guarantee your first client in 90 days, and we own a piece of your business, which means our interests are permanently aligned with yours. Next video, I'm getting into the 300 plus businesses we have helped build and what actually separates the ones that win from the ones that do not, because it is not what most people think it is. And if you're serious about this model, you need to hear it. I'll see you there.